the Labor Coalition represents how many workers and how many different unions?
The Labor Coalition represents about 450 workers and 13 unions at the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District.
And that's basically everybody but bus drivers, right?
Yes, it's about half the employees at the district. It's everyone but the bus drivers.
Okay, because that's a better way to cover it. So you represent what kinds of people other than the bus drivers? These are who?
These are iron workers, they're engineers, they're bridge inspectors, ferry deckhands, captains, bus servicers, and mechanics.
And so where are we on the strike? You had a strike which had no impact. Now we're hearing that you might have another job action at the end of the week that will have impact.
Well, in negotiations on Monday, the district made very minor economic movements. They made it clear that they don't want to come to a settlement anytime soon. And we're expecting that there might be another strike very soon, possibly this week. And unlike the last strike that happened, we expect this will probably impact commuters.
And that would be, and if that's the case, why would this one impact commuters, whereas the last one did not?
Well, I think that the machinists went on strike last time for an unfair practice charge, and they really were conscientious and they didn't want to impact commuters, and they wanted to give the district an opportunity to prevent any further strikes that impact commuters. It's very clear the district doesn't care about commuters, and they don't care about the middle-class workers that do these jobs, and so that a strike that impacts commuters seems like it's probably going to happen now. And
so that would mean, what would that mean? That would mean all 13 unions?
That decision hasn't been made. Again, there are all 13 unions. Individual unions make the decision to go on strike. And so it could be the entire district, it could be just one area, it could be just ferry, just bus, or just the bridge.
Do you have any sort of feeling that the unions are behind you?
Yes, all 13 unions are very cooperative. We sit at the same bargaining table. Again, on the strike on Tuesday that happened last week, all the unions honored the machinist picket line. So even though there was a small handful of machinists there, the picket line was over 100 people.
So how long could this strike go on for, and what are we looking at, Thursday, Friday?
I'm not sure exactly what the timeline is. I expect there'll be an announcement made very soon to make sure the public is aware of what the impacts will be. So I'm not sure, and we'll announce where and when and who it's going to affect then.
And again, this is over the healthcare portion of the contract? You guys have been without a contract since July 1st, right?
Yes. The contract expired on July 1st. And in terms of what it's over, it could be another unfair practice charge strike. However, at the bargaining table, the big issue is healthcare. The last unfair practice charge strike that happened was over healthcare and the fact that the district didn't honor the 2012 healthcare agreement. And healthcare at this bargaining table is also a huge issue, talking about big concessions on premiums and trying to implement a bottom of the barrel 40-60% split on the premiums for the workers right now.
And yet at the same time, we keep hearing they're offering 3% a year, making 9% over 3 years.
Yeah, and exactly. That's the real misrepresentation of the district. There have been 3 contracts in a row where these employees have given back to the district in the form of lower wages, no wages, concessions on the health care, more premiums there, higher pension contributions. And so 3 contracts in a row, they made these concessions. And now the district, even though they're in the best financial shape ever, with $138 million of extra revenue, they're still asking for more concessions now.
Are you concerned about the strike? We saw what happened with the BART strike, and people are still angry with BART workers.
Well, I think that if you see the report that came out with the BART situation recently, I think people are angry with BART in general. And the way that strike was handled by management was very unfortunate. We have been trying to give as much notice to commuters as possible about this. We've been trying to avoid it. We've had radio ads, we've had advertisements in newspapers, we've been leafleting ferry and bus customers, and the last strike was purposely done by the machinists not to impact commuters, to make sure everyone's aware how serious the situation is. We're trying to give the district an opportunity to settle this, but it's very clear that they don't want to, and they want to have a strike.
Is there any way to avoid this strike?
Yes, I think that avoiding a strike is easy. Right now, if you look at the economics of the situation, 1% in wages is only about $300,000, and we're only about 2% away. So we're talking about less than $700,000 that the district has to pay per year to settle this, and they have an extra $138 million in extra revenue coming in the next 5 years. So they can afford it. They just don't want to do this.
When's the next negotiating session?
We usually have negotiations on Mondays, and we'll see what happens next Monday, and we'll see if the district has any more movement. Unfortunately, we have not had major economic movement from the district in well over a month at the negotiating table.
You think you should be meeting more often than once a week?
Well, that's kind of up to the district and what they think they can do. We are willing to meet whenever is necessary. Obviously, getting 13 unions together and getting representatives from all 13 unions together in one day is a lot of timing, and so we make sure we block off every Monday to make sure that happens. We're not going to set the time aside to meet if the district isn't going to take negotiations seriously and come back with reasonable economic proposals.